Welcome to another video on the Giant Take Podcast YouTube channel. Now, we started this once already. It did not work out. The Wi-Fi cut out. So now I'm inside. I was outside. It was nice and bright. Now I look very dark. So that's kind of annoying. But yeah, still in Florida. I'm making my way down the coast to the Miami Pro Day. Probably arrive at this rate 10 days late. Miss Gregory Rousseau. So that'll be very upsetting. But anyway, yeah, all good. NFL mock draft. First round, we haven't done any of these before, so the rules for this one, no trades besides ones that have already happened, basically, so no trades made by us. And our second one, if we hopefully do a second one, there will be trades. But let's first ask Alex, how are you doing today, Mr. Alexander?
I'm doing great. Thanks for using my full name. But I'm just excited to get into it. You know, we've been wanting to do a mock draft for a while, and I guess we created it, and now it's here. So we'll just get right into it. We're using this mock draft machine, obviously, the Draft Network. People have probably heard of it if you're watching this video. And I guess we'll get right into it. So first, we have the Jaguars. It's obvious who they're going to take. I'm not going to, make a whole big fuss about it. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence, best player in the class, the best quarterback that we've seen in a long time out of college, and he'll be going first overall to the Jaguars.
At number 2, we have the New York Jets, and it seems like the Draft Network, they know what they're talking about because their number one need, it looks like here, is a quarterback, and that quarterback is going to be Zach Wilson out of BYU. We saw him at his pro day the other day on the rollout, throwing about 60 yards deep to the left side, I believe, is where he went. And we'll have to see what that means for Sam Darnold with the trades. Obviously, we're not going to factor that into our draft here. But yeah, that's going to be the case. Zach Wilson going number 2 to the New York Jets. Also, I want to mention, we'll probably mention at the end of the video as well, all of these picks, if you want to have it listed out completely, will be on thegianttake.com. That's replacing the blog section for this week. Instead of having a blog, we're going to have this on there. And we have a quick analysis on why we chose the player there or why they went there. But Alex, you take it away for number 3 to the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, so the 49ers, obviously we see here, they traded up. They made quite a few moves here to get up to this number 3 spot. That clearly means they're going for a QB. They really like Mac Jones, apparently. Shanahan was at his pro day, not at Justin Fields' pro day, so that was interesting. Mac Jones didn't look great at his pro day. Justin Fields looked very good. And despite the rumors, we're still going to stick with Justin Fields, who we believe is the second to third best QB in this class. I kind of see him and Zach Wilson as 2A, 2B, and Justin Fields will be going third overall to the 49ers.
At number 4, that's going to be the Atlanta Falcons up now, and I don't like that they categorize this man as just a tight end because he's very versatile. I did a draft profile on him. If you have not seen his highlights, I highly recommend to just check them out on YouTube. That's wide receiver / tight end Kyle Pitts, and he's going to be going to the Atlanta Falcons. That's where I have him, or that's where we have him. Excuse me. We did this mock draft together, Alex. But yeah, I really like this pick at number 5. If the Falcons don't trade back, which is rumored, I've heard Bill Belichick wants a quarterback, and that could be the case. They trade with the Falcons. But if not, Kyle Pitts, I think he's jumped up the shaft a lot. Giants have seen to be rumored in the beginning of free agency, or before free agency, excuse me, in the mid-round pick and mid-first round pick, but now he's going to number 4 to the Falcons. I think it's a great value pick. Good job by the Falcons if they're able to get him there.
Yeah, moving over to a very difficult one, I'd say. This is definitely one of 2. You can see here you're either looking at their 2 biggest needs, wide receiver or tackle. Joe Burrow, obviously Ja'Marr Chase's former teammate, is on the board. They have a good connection. There's been rumors that Joe Burrow has requested for Ja'Marr Chase to come. But I think probably the second or third best player in the draft, Penei Sewell, I think it's just the obvious choice here. Joe Burrow went down with an injury last season. He needs protection, and Sewell is the perfect pick at number 5 there. So Joe Burrow doesn't get his former teammate, but he does get someone who will be able to protect him quite nicely in that Bengals offensive line.
Yeah, we saw Joe Burrow get completely destroyed with that Bengals offensive line. Hopefully, Sewell, best tackle, obviously, in the draft, will be able to help him out there. I think it is, we have to talk about it. That's the reason why he got injured and missed most of the season, was due to his offensive line. They weren't protecting him enough, and it finally caught up to him, and he, obviously was out for the rest of the season. Going to number 6, this is kind of, I agree with the pick. It's just like, it's sad because I did like Devontae Parker a lot, and I feel like he's just not the player that, the Dolphins always wanted, right? And they were always looking for. It just never, he had that one really good season, then it's just kind of been mediocre since then. But anyway, Draft Network, once again, they know what they're talking about with the number 1 team need. It's going to be the best wide receiver in this draft class, Ja'Marr Chase out of LSU. We saw it in that season with Joe Burrow when he played his probably his best season then. Just a really great pick. And great value here at 6, and I think that's where the Dolphins are going to go. Alex, you got the Lions at 7.
Yeah, so the Lions, they're a difficult one. Obviously here you could see wide receiver, cornerback, tackle, the best tackles off the board. You could see Slater maybe coming a little bit earlier than we have him mocked, and have him be taken here by the Lions, or maybe a little bit later as well. But I think wide receivers, their biggest need. They lost Kenny Golladay, obviously, to the Giants.
And Marvin Jones.
And Marvin Jones in free agency. So they really need a wide receiver. And then when you go to wide receivers, it's one of two. It's Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle. Devonta Smith has kind of been falling down a bit. So I think Jalen Waddle is probably the second best receiver in the class, in our opinion. So he will be going to the Lions. He will give them a really nice weapon down there for Jared Goff.
Number 8 is going to be the Carolina Panthers, and I think they go to the man out of North Dakota State. Some people have him earlier in the draft. I have him here at number 8. QB Trey Lance. He's going to be going to the Carolina Panthers, and that's who Alex and I, one of the toughest decisions in the draft that we had to make in this first round mock draft. And I really liked – I do like Trey Lance. I just think it's a smaller school, right? Obviously, we haven't seen him as much as a Justin Fields or something like that. So that's why I think we have him going here at 8. But this is also could be a controversial type of pick as well, as Justin Fields going at 3, Lance going at 8. It's tough there. But I have at number 8 Trey Lance, or we. I keep on saying we have Trey Lance at number 8. Alex, you can go on to the Broncos at 9.
So the Broncos at 9 is another really interesting one. It depends what they think of Drew Lock, right? He's their quarterback at the moment. You have Mac Jones on the board. He's really the only suitable quarterback that you could possibly take at this time. To me, I still think they back Drew Lock, so I don't think they're going to go quarterback here. Then you look tackle. You could look Slater, but I'm not sure exactly if they really want that either. And I don't know if this hasn't been mocked by many people, but I think they, or at least we think they're going cornerback. And I think the best cornerback in this class is Patrick Surtain, a really good player. There's been some debate between him, J.C. Horn, and who else would here? Caleb Farley as well. So there's been some debate on who's the best corner. We have Patrick Surtain. He's going to be going to the Broncos from Alabama. And I think that's a good pick for them, but this is definitely a tough pick. The Broncos could be going in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, you're completely right, Alex. It's tough. Obviously, Drew Lock at quarterback. They could want another quarterback. He's young in his career. We'll have to see what happens there. Number 10, NFC East rival. And I think it's another cornerback. I think it's back-to-back cornerbacks. I think it's cornerback Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. Like you said, they've been rumored. Who's the best one? I think Patrick Surtain is clearly the best one. And then you kind of, after that point, you have Caleb Farley in there. And then J.C. Horn, another guy that you mentioned. But I think here we're going to have Caleb Farley going to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, so this is the one that everyone's been waiting for. Obviously, if you're a Giants fan, you may have skipped to this part of the video. The Giants have, with all these free agent signings that we've made, there's lots of options, right? There's Smith, he's on the board. There's Slater, he's on the board. Parsons, he's on the board. Vera Tucker, and obviously all the main edge rushers are all on the board as well. We're going to go for someone who impressed a lot at their pro day. So maybe we're doing a little bit of pro day hype here. Was extremely impressive there. The Giants obviously are linked with his school, Penn State. Micah Parsons. Giants need a linebacker. And I think at this point, you look at best player available. And I think, for us, he is the best player on the board. Maybe bar Devonta Smith, but obviously the Giants don't really need a wide receiver at this moment. Definitely could see Slater coming here. But yeah, I like Parsons a lot. There's obviously his attitude issues. That could be a problem. I'm sure Joe Judge and, the staff is looking into that if they were to draft him. So I wouldn't be worried about that. But yeah, I'm going to go Micah Parsons, or we're going to go Micah Parsons here to the Giants. A little bit more of an interesting one. Obviously, last season we passed on Isaiah Simmons, and this time we're going to get a very similar player, but I think Micah Parsons is more of a solid linebacker than Isaiah Simmons, who is more flexible, but maybe not as solid at one position.
Yeah, and that leads me into number 12, Alex. You mentioned the Giants don't need a wide receiver. The team that does need a wide receiver is the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's going to be Devonta Smith. What a great pick here. I mean, at this point at number 12, it's perfect value for the team. I really like it. Obviously, you have Kwity Paye, Gregory Rousseau on the defensive end for the Eagles, and the Giants too are rumored, but Micah Parsons there. So just kind of recapping the last two picks. Micah Parsons there at 11. Good job. Devonta Smith at number 12. I think it's perfect value for the Eagles. Good job by them. They're able to snag that wide receiver at 12. Go ahead to 13.
Yeah, Smith, he could, and you never know with the Eagles. They could go quarterback. They could go Mac Jones. Obviously, they have him ranked at 3 over here. That's a little bit high, I think, for Mac Jones. But I'm sure he'll be off the board soon. Chargers, they need to protect their new quarterback, Justin Herbert. He's their guy. They need offensive line help badly. You look at the tackle position, there's, a few options, but the real obvious one is Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. He's the perfect fit there. I don't think there's any doubt that they go tackle. Slater could be gone by then. You could see him go, anywhere from 9 to 12, actually. He could be gone as well. But in this mock, he falls to 13, and the Chargers will not hesitate to draft him. Obviously, Darrisaw and Jenkins are also not bad prospects for, this period, but I think they're a little bit of reaches. Slater is great value at that pick.
Kwity Paye, a player I mentioned a bit ago, he's going to go right now to the Minnesota Vikings, the edge out of Michigan, Alex did a big draft profile on him. If you want to read that, go to thegianttake.com. A rumored Giants player as well as at one point or another, but he's going to go to the Vikings here, slips a little bit down to 14, and we have the Patriots at 15. We mentioned this earlier. They could trade down to the Falcons pick. That's been the rumor to get a quarterback. But luckily, there is a quarterback that slips all the way to this 15 pick that Alex will get into right now.
So for them, it's quarterback, I think. Obviously, Cam Newton did get a new deal, but I don't think he's their long-term solution. And I think Bill Belichick, he went to Mac Jones's pro day. Obviously, there was that, bit of film of him shaking his head at Mac Jones's overthrow on one of his throws in the pro day. But I still think they are interested in him enough that Bill Belichick was there. I think you take the only quarterback that you could pretty much take for the next 2 rounds or so, because I think Kyle Trask is maybe a second, third round guy. So if you want a quarterback, I think this is the time. Mac Jones, obviously, he had lots of star receivers at Alabama, but, very solid quarterback. And I think he kind of fits the Patriots well. So we're going to go Mac Jones here at 15. We've been seeing recent mocks that he's been going much, much earlier, like we said, as early as the 3rd pick to the 49ers. You could have seen him again to Denver, somewhere like that, but we have him here falling to 15, and I think he's a good fit with the Patriots.
16, that other cornerback that we just that hasn't gotten picked yet, that's J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. He's going to be going to the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like it's a need, and I think that's a perfect player to go with. Obviously, I believe they lost Patrick Peterson. They did in this offseason or free agency period. So they go and they take their cornerback that they need, and that's J.C. Horn.
And moving on to the new city, I guess, Las Vegas Raiders. I always say Oakland. Got it right this time. So for them, again, you could be looking at tackle. You could look Darrisaw. You could look Vera Tucker. But we're going to go to the defensive side of the ball, and we're going to go with Jeremiah Owusu. It's interesting to have him listed as a linebacker here. He could be edge as well. He's kind of flexible. He's the perfect fit for the Raiders, and we have him going at number 17.
At number 18, Miami Dolphins. They're going to go with the edge. Gregory Rousseau, I just noticed, he stays in Miami. Goes to the University of Miami, Miami U. Now he stays in Miami, goes to the Dolphins. He won't have to hopefully get a new home if he hasn't already purchased one from, I'm sure, all of the deals he's gotten with various companies. But yeah, he'll stay in Miami, and he will go to the Miami Dolphins at 18.
So now Washington football team here at 19. There's various directions they can go as well. Obviously, they did just sign Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's obviously not a long-term solution. QB-wise, there's nothing left on the board. I mean, if you look, there's Kyle Trask. Way too early for Kyle Trask. I know some people rate him higher than others. Here, you look, there's the biggest need. I agree with the Draft Network. It's tackle. You look at tackles. There's Darisaw and Jenkins, who I think are the next two up, and I think Darisaw is the third best tackle in this class. But I do think there's a significant gap between him and Slater. Darisaw will be going to the Washington football team and helps patch up that line for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
20, Chicago Bears offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. We're getting up there in the tackles, right? Not that many left. After Slater, it kind of goes a little bit down from there. After Sewell, then Slater. But, another good player, Tevin Jenkins, he goes 20 to the Chicago Bears. Alex, you got 21, which is another back-to-back. This one is offensive tackles going back-to-back.
Yeah, so we got 3 offensive tackles in a row. This time we're going to go with Sam Cosmi out of Texas. He can also play guard, I believe, so it's kind of a nice fit there. They have Quentin Nelson already, so maybe not the biggest need there, but at the tackle position, he's a solid prospect. Maybe not the best day one starter, but I think he could improve into a very good NFL talent. And he's going to go number 21. Very nice value there for the Colts.
At 22, I would say the replacement of Corey Davis obviously could, develop into that number 1 wide receiver. We'll have to see what he does compared to A.J. Brown, but that is going to be wide receiver Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. This is an underrated wide receiver. I like talking about him because I think he could even drop into the second round. It's a possibility. But I think that this is a good pick for the Titans at 22. Again, not a biggest need, but they did lose Corey Davis in free agency. I think it's good for them to go out in this first round, pick a wide receiver at 22. Alex, our friends in New York are coming up after this pick, the ones who actually got wide receiver Corey Davis, and you let us know who they're picking next.
So for the Jets, you see their biggest need was quarterback. We got that done for them already. This is the pick they got with the Jamal Adams trade. Cornerback, they're going to improve the secondary. They lost a piece of the secondary with Jamal Adams. Obviously, this is corner, not safety. The next best corner in the class, Greg Newsome, another player out of Northwestern here in the first round, so that's kind of cool. And he will hopefully slot in and be a nice player there for the Jets because they really don't have any safeties. They have our old friend Corey Ballantyne. They have Bryce Hall, and now it's Newsome. So hopefully he can be a nice number one corner for them. Not sure if he's that type of guy, but he's definitely a solid number 2.
Yeah, and on to the next team. We were debating even having any running backs, so there are some very good ones in this draft class. We thought they were falling into the second round, but we actually took a minute, and we were like, you know what? This is actually not a bad pick, and that's going to be running back Najee Harris for Alabama. We've obviously seen him with the national championship team. Goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers here, and you're thinking James Conner. Well, we don't know what his future is with the Steelers. I believe he's a free agent right now. So we have to see where he signs and where he goes. And then their number 1 running back turns into Benny Snell. And I don't think they really want that. As good as Benny Snell might be and how many Pittsburgh Steelers fans believe in Benny Snell, that remains to be seen. But I think Najee Harris he's their running back that they take at pick number 24.
Moving to the Jaguars, another team with 2 picks in this first round, along with the Jets and Dolphins here. For the Jaguars, I mean, they have a ton of needs. They could go pretty much anywhere. Tackle would definitely be a nice position for them to go. All of the good ones for the first rounders are kind of gone. It would be a little bit of a reach to go for any of them. So you look best player available, Vera Tucker, Phillips, but for us, we're going to go safety. Trevon Moorhig, I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, out of TCU. And he, I think, will fit nicely into their secondary. And at that point, you're just looking best player available. I think secondary is a big need for them, and I think he's I'm not going to say his name. He is a great fit out there in their secondary.
26, Cleveland Browns defensive tackle Christian Barmore from Alabama. Great selection here. I think another great pick that the Browns can make, and getting him at 26, I think is also good value. Obviously dropping. There is another pick that I really like. That's a team's going to have good value. You're going to have to wait for them a little bit. It's at about 5 picks, so we'll get to that. But just previewing it for now, that's who they get.
Yeah, not Dolphins, Ravens here. They clearly need a wide receiver. Edge is definitely a possibility as well. There's some very nice edges here that are falling down the board, but we're not going to go that way. We're going to go Terrence Marshall out of LSU, and he's a good fit for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he's like the better version, I would say. Not the better version, the taller and stronger version, I would have to say, to Marquise Brown, their number one wide receiver that we've seen. They lost Willie Snead in free agency. They signed Sammy Watkins, another receiver to add to the tree if they want to get far and beat the Chiefs, right? That's what we've seen that the Ravens are trying to do. They're trying to beat the Chiefs, get to the Super Bowl. They haven't been able to do that. Hopefully giving Lamar Jackson another weapon helps them do that. Number 28, and that's another cornerback. This one's going to be by the New Orleans Saints. They're going to pick Asante or Asante. I think it's Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State, and they go there at number 28.
Yeah, definitely kind of a slept-on cornerback in this class. I feel like, a lot of people have in the second round. There's always a few guys that sneak in from second round who come into this late first area, and I think he's going to be one of those. So I kind of like that pick for the Saints. It'll kind of go under the radar. For the Packers here at pick number 29, we're going to go linebacker. Not the deepest linebacker class, but another player who's kind of projected early second round. He's going to come up to the late first. Nick Bolton out of Missouri.
Yeah, Nick Bolton, he's been ranked as in the top 5, definitely, for linebackers. I've seen him at number 3, number 4 a few times. I'm going to go to number 30, and that's number 30 in the draft, the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills go edge here. Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. Wanted to take my time with that one, make sure I got his name correctly. I think I did pretty well there. But they're going to go with an edge, and Alex actually has my pick that I really like, the underrated pick here that's been rumored to even go to the Giants that Alex had a draft profile on. And he goes all the way down to 31. This was a tough one for me to handle as we kept on going, and this guy was not taken. So I think this is a very good pick by the Kansas City Chiefs. Alex, go ahead, take it away, and let us know who this player is, or let the people know, because I do know who this player is.
Yeah, I actually really like all 3 of these final picks. Azeez Ojulari, great value here at 30. Another player here at 11 for the Giants. But here, Elijah Vera Tucker, guard out of USC. Very good that they're going to need it there. The Chiefs, we saw in the Super Bowl, they don't have an offensive line. And Patrick Mahomes, if he wants to have 2 legs once he retires, he's going to need an offensive line. And Elijah Vera Tucker is the best one by far on the board left.
And the final pick in this first-round mock draft, our first-round mock draft, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Super Bowl winners. They're going to help the defense. It's going to be edge Jalen Phillips out of Miami. Giants saw him at the pro day. Both of the players on the defensive side for the Miami Dolphins, the University of Miami, you have Gregory Rousseau, who's rumored to go in the first round, right? Rumored. We don't know for sure, but he's probably going to go in the first round. And then Jalen Phillips, who could be a second-round talent, but he goes in the first round here. Alex is showing you our draft. Obviously, once again, if you want some analysis on the picks, everything like that, please go to thegianttake.com. Everything's posted there. Once this video's out, that's out on thegianttake.com. Go check it out. Alex, any final thoughts on the draft before we wrap this video up?
No, not really. I mean, this is I scrolled through it, I think. These are our selections. Pause if you missed any of them. But I really like this draft. I think there's definitely a lot of nice value picks here. Like I mentioned before, these final 3 picks here, really like a lot. And I also like Bateman here at 22. I think that's a nice pick. He could be another Justin Jefferson. That's kind of who not in terms of play style, but in terms of the value you could get from him, like Josh said. But yeah, that's pretty much all we have for today. This is our first mock draft. We'll have another one probably in the next week or 2. And hopefully there'll be some more rumors, some more news, and it'll probably be quite different from this one.
Yeah, wherever you're watching this video, subscribe, drop a like, and then new episode out tomorrow on Thursday. Hopefully we'll have a special guest on there, and we'll let you know, obviously, when you see the new episode. But yeah, episode coming out tomorrow. We really hope you enjoyed this. Once again, check out thegianttake.com to see our full analysis and the draft here. You don't just need to pause the video. If you want to see it in the video, you can see it there by pausing, like Alex mentioned, but also check it out on thegianttake.com if you missed anything. Follow us on Twitter at thegianttake pod, and we will see you in the next Giant Take video here on YouTube.